One of the most hated rhinos and minos, MAGA in name only, Republicans is Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina. I would love to see Trump drop his endorsement and pick up a real patriot, somebody that loves South Carolina, someone that loves America, someone who believes that our money should be spent here versus in Ukraine. To help me go through some big news stories, I have Mark Lynch. Mark, thank you for joining me again.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Stephen. It's a joy to be on your show.
Oh, I appreciate you taking time out. Lindsey Graham has helped send more money to Ukraine than any part of the United States. He hardly says a word when your neighbor in North Carolina had issues. Then he finally gets a congressional break. He doesn't come home to South Carolina to check on his own voters and constituents. He heads right to Ukraine. He's been in Ukraine 6 times, in his own district only twice. Is this guy a senator for Ukraine or for the United States?
Yeah, we're all asking that. And, you know, I love the MAGA name only. That's a good one. Yeah, I mean, my question is, when did he become the Secretary of State, Stephen? You know, Trump didn't go to the meeting with Putin and Zelensky. Lindsay was there by himself. He was there the next week. He's been there doing no telling what. We're seeing copies of bills of how much, you know, he's expended of our taxpayers' money, over $800,000 on these last couple of trips. That's not what we need to be doing.
No, it's not. And you make a great point. So the president of the United States has the authority to deal with foreign issues. He then delegates that to the Secretary of State, who then delegates that to whoever has come in under Marco Rubio. But now you've got Lindsey Graham threatening China, threatening Russia, saying that we should be bombing Russia into oblivion, that we should hit them with a 500% tariff. He's having these backdoor, private, closed-door negotiations. It's very concerning to me, especially because he's supposed to be overseeing South Carolina and America, yet all of his concerns seems to be the people of Ukraine.
Yeah. So you and I and all the people watching this show and all over the country are asking these questions. Why is he there? What is he doing? Couple of interesting points have come out. We've introduced some of them. Is he there to clean up, shred documents, hide past financial activity with Zelensky because he knows he's under investigation and that's all going to come to a head? What are we going to really find out? Larry Johnson, the former CIA officer, brought all this up, that he will be investigated. We'll probably be seeing a lot in the news coming soon about how he's financially profited from the Ukraine dealings that he's had over there. And of course, his other nickname is a warmonger. So he's trying to stir up war. He's at the end of this season of his tenure as the U.S. Senator with the campaign that I'm in, running against him, and he's shoring up more money here at the last minute again, it sounds like. So we're all tired of it, and it brings up the Logan Act, that he cannot be making these dealings over there. He's not in position to be doing this. And I'm waiting to hear what President Trump and them are going to do about it and bring him home and get him out of there before he starts World War III.
Yeah, it is a concern of mine. Not only did he spend over $400,000 for a couple of days in a hotel, but he approved his own trip over there. He approved his own reimbursements. I mean, if this guy is so beloved and helpful to Zelensky and the Ukrainian people, why wouldn't they comp his room? Why is it hundreds of thousands of dollars a night of taxpayer money? And why, within a couple of days of being in Ukraine saying we need to hit Russia, they pull this top secret mission where they destroy $7 billion of military equipment and blow up a bridge from Russia to Crimea. It all needs to be investigated, in my opinion.
Absolutely. And I believe it is. And that was 2 nights. So it was like 400 twice.
Yeah,
So
it's insane to me. I believe 400,000 of it was him. The other 400,000 was Dick. Oh shoot,
Blumenthal.
Blumenthal. Thank you. So,
Yeah.
but the question is, what on earth are they doing? Now, you brought up former CIA Larry Johnson. This is a man that I've had on my show many times. We text back and forth. He has really good intel. Let me show something to you and to my audience that was very concerning. Let's watch this together.
And let me say something about Senator Graham. There will be news coming out in the next couple of months about how he has profited financially off of money that came out of Ukraine, laundered through Latvia, and made its way into his bank account. And then we're talking significant amounts of money. Department of Justice is looking at it.
All right, those are serious allegations leveled by former CIA officer Larry Johnson. We shall see.
Okay, so those are big allegations. We're going to leave it right there as an allegation until something happens. But I look forward to this investigation being kicked off because I think American taxpayers want to know what did we get for $200 billion to Ukraine? What did we get for the 411,000 you spent on 2 nights in a hotel room? What were you really doing? Were you shredding documents? Were you destroying evidence? Were you setting up a money laundering scheme? I think we deserve answers on all of that.
We do, Stephen. And when we get them, I hope that we prosecute. I hope we carry it to the next level and apply the law to this situation.
As you travel around South Carolina, what is the feedback that you're getting on the job that President Trump is doing, number one, and then the frustration that your own fellow citizens in South Carolina, what is their frustration with Lindsey Graham?
Well, I think in general, people are pleased with what Trump is doing after the first 100 days review and then the review that came out last night on the news. I think for the most part, everybody's thrilled about how Trump's changed so many things so quickly and moving our country back in a good direction again. I know the big, beautiful bill has come up, and there's been a lot more information come out about that with Elon and Trump arguing in the news with the extra spending pork that's in it. That's why there's kind of a holdup. And I know Senator Thomas Massie and several of them are not going to vote for it because the bill's become saturated with too much pork in it. So we'll have to wait and see. But we need a slim bill that's got all the good stuff in it without fattening it up with a lot of things that we don't need. But before the last week and all the news coming out from the Ukraine, people are tired of Lindsey. A lot of people are just tired because he's been in there so long for so many years. But most of the people that we've shown some of the videos with Lindsey telling Trump to go to hell, telling the community after Biden stole the election in November of 2020, you know, that what's not to like about Joe Biden? After all, he's a great guy. I know him. He won. You know, they remember that. They remember the booing in Pickens when he introduced Trump, how he was booed for over 6 or 7 minutes and they couldn't get a word out. It was just embarrassing in his own hometown that people hated Lindsey that much. So we're seeing a lot of positive turnaround. People are supporting our campaign. They're jumping on board. They're signing up to help, to knock on doors, to put out signage, whatever we need them to do. They're thrilled somebody's put their name in the hat to take him out.
Yeah, I know I am. I'm from Utah, but when I saw who was challenging him, your background, I mean, how long have you been running a business, helping people to provide for their families there in South Carolina?
So my father's business that was started in 1951, he retired and I took the reins over in 1985. So I've been running the business the last 40 years. And we've been debt-free since 1999, personally and corporately. Our business has grown 35 times from when I took it over. from 5 employees to 110, and we run a great business here. God's the center of it, and that's what makes it awesome. And that's how we view our campaign. This is a God first campaign. That's what makes America great again.
Okay. Let's talk about Trump for a minute. As you see him going around the country, having all these dignitaries, wealthy people coming, his trip to the Middle East, right now they're saying that there's somewhere between 10 and 13 trillion dollars of people that are saying, under the right leadership, we see America as one of the best places to put our money. How can you, if you get in, continue to make America great again so that people can provide for their families? That we can start repairing our own country versus bombing other countries. What are your thoughts on his economic vision? And then what do you want to bring to the table?
Well, I want to bring together to the table, and I brought this over today to show, here's our Constitution that'll fit in your front pocket. And our government, those in office, like a U.S. Senator, has the enumerated powers under this Constitution. That's all they have. This is the annotated Constitution that weighs like 20 pounds, thousands of pages, that's built off of case law from how we've changed over. And our Constitution protected the citizens' rights that are unalienable rights given by God. That's the filter, that if I get into office, this is really the only power I have is to follow this, and I'm limited to what I can do. It limits me. This is what man has done and created a new Constitution that a lot of our guys are operating from, and that's not the Constitution. This is the annotated Constitution. So if we go back and we don't have some guy like Lindsey Graham in the Ukraine that could start a World War III situation right now, and we chose to go to war constitutionally with the limited powers that we're given by the real Constitution our forefathers did, we wouldn't be putting ourselves into more trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars in debt. We're never going to get our budget balanced doing those kind of things. We got to get back to a simple government, less government, lean government that will serve the people the way the Constitution was first written. That's how we make America great again. Come back with godly morals into this country. It only works with that.
Okay. When you first held that giant book up, Mark, I thought maybe that was the Democrat Book of Lies. My gosh, that's thick.
Yeah. Well, that kind of is what it is.
Yeah. Over time, they've added on so many things. It's kind of like the IRS tax code. It's 70,000 pages now. When really you could just say, hey, we're going to make this thing really simple, and everyone's got to contribute some way, and we're going to keep that money here instead of giving it away.
Yeah.
We could change the whole country. Losing weight can feel like an uphill battle, especially with the American diet. From nasty seed oils that hurt us to high fructose corn syrup that actually makes us more hungry. Americans have wrecked their gut health. This is where ThermoTrim steps in as a smart, science-backed solution. This USA-made fat burner starts by restoring your gut health. ThermoTrim has a gut bacteria found in thinner people, but not heavier Americans. ThermoTrim helps restore that so you can lose weight. It supports digestion and curbs cravings naturally. Have you tried other products to lose weight and change your health? I have. ThermoTrim is what my body needed. Get ThermoTrim to improve your gut health and start losing weight today. Visit redlineremedies.com or snap the QR code. Make sure to use code Gardner to get an additional 20% off today. We all feel better when we lose weight, and I want you to live a long and happy life. I want to ask you about your thoughts on this big, beautiful bill. I'm not going to lie. It breaks my heart to see this public fight between President Trump and Elon Musk. I think they can do a lot more for the country working together than working apart. I hope that they'll be able to, mend those broken fences, as they say. But What are your thoughts on Trump's big, beautiful bill? I know there's going to be pork in there. I'm hoping between now and July 4th, the Senate can go through and clean some of that out. But it pushes for money that's necessary to keep the border strong. It pushes to keep those original Trump tax cuts that most people don't realize. Those go away. You're giving more money to the IRS than many people are prepared to hand over. It cleans up Medicare and Medicaid. What are your thoughts on that? And I'm going to show you who Senator Rand Paul is blaming for the big, beautiful bill.
Yeah. Well, again, I have not read the whole bill. I don't have it in front of me. So I'm just, guessing based on what I hear in the news, which we know gives partial information. But I know Rand and other people have been against it because of the extra pork that's in there. So I hate that we have bills that have beautiful tax cuts in it, helps clean up Medicare and Medicaid, helps produce the savings we've had and continue it so we don't start going back up again with unnecessary taxation on the people. I'm all for that. But I'd have to weigh out and see what the other, like 1.2 trillion spending is for. If that's for the border, I know we need it, but again, I just hate to see a bill get tainted and ruined with all these extra things they want to throw in there and try to get them done at the same time. We've seen too much of that go on.
Yeah, I asked Senator Ron Johnson, hey, why can't we have small, beautiful bills where everybody can read them? You know what they're going to do. You know how they benefit America. You know where the money is going, how it's going to affect the national debt. He said, Stephen, members in Congress, they just don't want to do that because they like to hide stuff from the American people in there. And they stick that pork in there when nobody's looking. They pass these bills in the middle of the night. That's not how it's supposed to be done. We're not supposed to operate in the dark. We're supposed to operate in the light. What are your thoughts on what Senator Johnson said?
Yeah, I mean, there needs to be transparency to the people. Our legislators work for us, and hiding stuff and getting stuff done's got to stop. That's just fraudulent governing by our elected officials, and I don't agree with that. And nobody does. We need to know what's going on.
Yeah, it's kind of become the status quo.
If we can't read a bill, in a few minutes, there's something wrong. If it's hundreds of pages and it takes an attorney to decipher the language in it because it's just it's corrupt. It's no good. They're trying to get something through without telling us, like you said.
During the first couple years of Biden, I can't remember which bill it was. It might have been the Inflation Reduction Act, which did not reduce inflation at all. It made it worse. But it was like a 1,500-page bill, and members of Congress were given 5 hours to read it and make a decision. Are you kidding me? Like, the American people, we need to be more vocal about this is not the way you run business. It should not be the way that you run government.
No, that's exactly right. I'm totally against all that.
Yeah. Let me run this clip with Senator Rand Paul, and a name you and I have been talking about is going to come up. Listen to this.
Everything seems to be inflated, and that spending's for certain. And to kind of put it in contrast, how much that is, let's say it's $300 billion. Well, the DOGE cuts are somewhere between 150 and 200 billion. So we've now increased spending at the get-go more than all the DOGE cuts. So I think Elon Musk did an amazing job, found all this stuff, and then we're dwarfing it with new spending. We shouldn't be doing that. This has always been, to me, from the very beginning, a bill that was hijacked and conceived of by Lindsey Graham to explode the military caps, explode military spending. They gleefully say, oh, we're getting it without having to give the Democrats anything. We're doing it with Republican only, so we're going to get more military money. But military already went up 3% this year, and then they're going to pad it with another 150 billion. I don't think you can be conservative, fiscally conservative, and be for unlimited border money and unlimited military money.
He points the finger right at Lindsey Graham. You want to talk about who's sneaking pork in to go to war, to give to foreign nations, to pad their pocket. Senator Lindsey Graham. What are your thoughts on Rand Paul calling him out?
I think that's perfect. He hit the nail on the head. If we have cuts, 3 minus 2 is still one more, a third more spending, that sounded like in that math there. And it's all going back to Zelensky, and it's going to foreign aid through USAID that Lindsay's been in charge of and on the board of. That's very corrupt, is suspect, and there's allegations there that have come out. And so, enough's enough. I don't know why he's allowed to be over there. He needs to be brought back home and investigated and stopped, because it's just the foreign aid. We're not supposed to be helping foreign countries. That's a nullification bill, not something we should pass or allow somebody to get away with, continue to run the scam over there that's been going on.
Yeah. I believe it was George Washington, our first president, that gave counsel saying, listen, trade with these people, but don't get into their wars. It will hurt the country. And what have we done? We've darn near bankrupted America, getting into all these different wars. It's got to end. And then you see, warmonger Lindsey Graham. What's he doing? Sneaking way more money into the military. I mean, it's just so weird to me how much he wants to be involved in foreign stuff, giving away hard-earned taxpayer money. I mean, you've got employees. If the Trump tax cuts come off, all of them are now scrambling. How am I going to give more money to Uncle Sam? And then you find out Lindsey Graham right there in their own town, he's voting to send their money to Zelensky, to Ukraine. It's insulting to hardworking Americans that are forced to pay these taxes.
Yep. And that's what's causing all the inflation in our country. As we print more money, send it overseas, it's not doing anything for Americans. We're all paying for it, and we're all tired of it.
Yeah, I know I am. In Trump's first 100 days, I would say Doge and regaining operational control of the border have been his two biggest successes. Well, now you've got Tom Homan and Kristi Noem of DHS. They're trying to get these gang members, gang leaders, criminals, murderers, killers, rapists, drug traffickers, human traffickers out of the country. And what happens? Democrats, they end up fighting to keep these criminals. I mean, are they that desperate for voters that they have to do that? Let me run a clip from Hakeem Jeffries, the second most powerful Democrat in the country. He's talking about openly doxing and sharing personal information with the public about these ICE agents. Let me go ahead and hit play on that.
Every single ICE agent who's engaged in this aggressive overreach and are trying to hide their identities from the American people will be unsuccessful in doing that. This is America. This is not the Soviet Union. We're not behind the Iron Curtain. This is not the 1930s. And every single one of them, no matter what it takes, no matter how long it takes, will of course be identified.
How dangerous is that to have the second highest ranking Democrat say, we need to start sharing the names, the addresses of ICE agents? Doesn't that just tell these gang leaders who to go kill?
Exactly. That's treason. If he does that, then he needs to be arrested. And I don't put that past Tom Homan. I know him personally. I've met him a couple of times, and he'll do what he says. And anybody that would dare give up names of our agents that are arresting people, allowing terrorists to come into this country, and drug cartel members, then they're serving them. That's who they are. And that's a treasonous act.
Yeah, I was really blown away by that. Like, do you and I need to know that? No. What would be the point of doxing somebody who's trying to get illegal criminals out if it's not to say, hey, Train de Aragua, hey, MS-13, here's the guy. Why don't you go harass and kill him and his family? It's so dangerous.
Yeah. Well, they're on their side. If he does that, that's whose side he's on. You're either a patriot today, an enemy, or a traitor in this country. And I think we're ready to deal with that. And speaking around the state of South Carolina, people are so thrilled to hear that I would be someone that would help enforce laws and bring back a rule of law in our state and in our country again.
So just in our final minutes, what are maybe the couple of reasons that you think you would be a better fit to represent South Carolina and contribute to the national security, economic growth compared to Lindsey Graham?
Well, thank you, Stephen. And this is a pretty common sense answer, but again, I love the Lord. Jesus is my Lord and Savior. We bring God back into every decision first. That's what makes America great again. We work off of this document, the Constitution of the United States. If it passes through God's filter of truth first, then it comes into the Constitution. And if it doesn't, then we don't look at it. We don't write another bill. Somebody asked me, what are some of the bills you would want to bring in? I told them first, I'd want to come in and rake all the false bills off everything and find this down underneath it all and get back to a simpler form of lean government and run things the way it's supposed to run and get that working again. It's worked for over 200 years. We need to get back to that. We bring integrity and honor and courage into this race with a person like me that's been a leader in our community, a father of 2, a grandfather of 4, a businessman, common sense businessman that knows how to run a calculator and add and subtract. And if we don't have it, we can't spend it. And if it's not America first, we don't need to look at it. And that's all based on the Constitution again. We bring that back, and somebody with a backbone that'll stand up and not cave in and take payments from other countries or foreign Chinese Communist Party people or whatever, and just run our country the way we'd run our own home checking account.
I love it.
Pretty simple.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm excited for you. I know it's an uphill battle, but I know that you got the courage and the stick-to-itiveness to keep going. If people want to follow you online or learn more about your campaign, where can I point them?
They can go to our website, Stephen, at lynch4senate.com. There's a place there to donate, to sign up, to volunteer, to help our campaign. We'd ask everybody to pray what God would have you to do to help our great campaign that's moving forward. And we'd love your help in any way you can. Okay, great. I'll put that direct link down below. Mark Lynch, thank you so much for coming on. We'll have you on again. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you. You too, Stephen.